You are listening to the No Tracers podcast. Welcome to the darkness. Step into the world of decay, abandonment, and chaos. The story of an urban explorer starts here, at the beginning. Welcome to the podcast you've been looking for all along. This is No Tracers. Here, we take only photos. We leave only footprints. And remember, leave no trace. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to No Tracers. Hope you're doing well. This week on the podcast, I'm speaking with an explorer based out of Mexico named Airborne Alex. He's actually from Detroit, but he's been living in Mexico for the past 8 months by the time you're listening to this episode. Super stoked for this episode. But before we get into it, just a couple things I got to let you know about. First of all, if you're new to the podcast, hi, I'm Kay. I'm known as No Tracers. If you just stumbled upon this podcast, well, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you and welcome to the show. This show comes out every single Friday with different guests around the world who are exploring abandoned places or doing crazy stuff like rooftoping, climbing cranes, all kinds of different stuff in this show. If you want to come on No Tracers, if you've got some stories to share, hit me up at no.tracers on Instagram, or you can email me at contact@notracers.com for more information. Please leave a rating and feedback if you've been listening to the podcast for a little while. It really helps the podcast grow. It takes you 30 seconds, and if you do it, I'll actually send you a signed photo print of an abandoned place that I've explored as a way of saying thank you for supporting the podcast and helping us find a broader audience of listeners just like you. This podcast is for the community, by the community. And before we get started with this episode, I have to say a huge thank you to our partner, Liquid Death Mountain Water. If you've never heard of Liquid Death, well, it's canned water from the Austrian Alps, okay? Go to liquiddeath.com and use code just the letter K for 10% off your order at checkout. Or you can click the link down in the description and it will automatically apply that code for you. I thank you guys for doing that. It helps me out. It helps the podcast out. And it helps me get more water. And we all need more water. Lastly, I would like to say if you are interested in my photography or if you want to support my art, what I'm doing, you can go to notracers.com/shop. You can pick up some merchandise. I got duffel bags, I got hats, I got beanies, I got hoodies, I got t-shirts, long sleeves, all kinds of stuff up there. And I also have 2 photography books about abandoned places that I've explored. If you want to check them out, notracers.com/shop. Without further ado, Alex, please introduce yourself and how long you've been exploring to the No Tracers audience.
All right, my name is Alex Vakori. My Instagram name is Airborne Alex 313, and I've been exploring for about 3.5, 4 years now.
Dope. So what got you into exploring in the first place?
Really, it wasn't even like wanting the sense to like take photos or anything. I just wanted to jump right in. I was from Detroit, Michigan, so I was walking around just downtown one time and I seen an abandoned building. I was like, oh, let me just take a look. It looks kind of cool, you know. Peeked my head in the window, and it was just from there I was hooked. Not just like bandos, but just everything to the sense of exploring. Just, you know, the old term, leave no rock unturned.
Yeah.
It was like that with buildings or doors or windows or whatever I could get myself into.
Wow. That's amazing, dude. So I'm sure you heard we were just in Detroit for a boxing fight in an abandoned building.
Yeah, definitely. That was pretty cool. I seen that.
It was pretty crazy. The first day I was there, it was snowing, and inside the buildings, like that's probably my favorite thing to ever see is when it actually snows and you're inside and the snow is coming through the roof. There's nothing like it.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope. The elements kind of sneak their way in all the time in Detroit.
Exactly.
We get some crazy weather.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But what was your first exploration ever? Was it that abandoned building you were just talking about?
Yes, it was. I mean, I know there's like gatekeepers and everything, but it's a pretty well-known building downtown called Fisher Body Plant 21, and it's just wide open, blown out. There's not much in there besides just the history of the building itself.
Right. Yeah, we didn't get to do that building, but I've heard great things about it for sure. Yeah. So when did photography come into play for you? When did you first pick up a camera?
That was so the first time I picked up a camera was when I came home from the military, which is about 10 years ago, but I didn't really get into photography. I just picked up a camera. It was literally my cell phone. I wouldn't even say a camera. But the first time I like really got into photography, wanting to like capture things, was maybe about 2.5 years ago.
Dope. So
Yeah.
what about gear? Like, what kind of gear are you bringing into these places? This could be like the pair of shoes you wear, kind of backpack or flashlights, anything like that that you would recommend for like new explorers, stuff that you think they need.
Okay. Yeah. No. Definitely. So sorry if there's a little background noise. It's a little loud
Oh,
here
you're
in
good.
Mexico, but so definitely in my gear. Normally, always starts with my camera. Always want to something to capture it, and if not, it's still there. Just use your eye and capture some memories with yourself. But a good pair of shoes, something with like some ankle support, because you're bound to take a fall eventually. And then like my actual gear for capturing, I got a little Sony A6000. I keep like a little first aid kit, just basic like alcohol pads, bandages, gauzes, just in case. Even if I don't get hurt, somebody else gets hurt. And a little like one of those little flex pod tripods. I don't even know the name. They're like Gorilla Pods or
Yeah.
something. I got a little multi-tool. It's like pliers, screwdrivers, just something basic. Like I'm not trying to like pry any doors open with it, but something good enough if we get caught on something. And you always got a couple of flashlights, because normally when I roll out with my guys, somebody forgets a flashlight or something basic like that. So normally two flashlights at the minimum. What
Amazing.
else is a big thing? We definitely a pocket knife, because
Yeah.
we get caught up on things all the time.
Oh, for sure. Also, hopefully it's storming here in Nashville right now, so hopefully my power stays on. But if I lose you for some reason, that's why.
No worries, no worries at
Cool.
all.
So tell me, have you ever had any injuries while exploring?
Yeah, yes, definitely. My buddy Andrew, Dr. Triple M, was on with you, and I don't know if he mentioned about the Falcon, but I've had plenty of
Right.
injuries, excuse me. But that one just stands out the most. I got a couple stitches on the top of my head from a Falcon. Fell through a couple of roofs. I mean, my arms and legs get a little scratched up, cut through, bushes to get into a building or whatnot. But the Falcon one was by far the best. I think I don't say the best injury, but the most significant.
So this Falcon, I've heard about this Falcon from many people. This is like a thing. Like this Falcon lives at this place. We don't need to name the place. I just went there, but like we don't need to name it. But this Falcon
Absolutely.
has like attacked several people.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's famous for a couple of reasons. Just for being a Falcon on top of an abando, and then just it swoops down on you. It's protecting its place. I almost want to rename the building the Falcon Building, just because getting up there. Because like the first time I went there, super dumb. I went up there solo, and I was like, oh, check this out. And I've heard rumors about a Falcon. I'm like, come on, this is just the old wives' tale.
Yeah.
And I just whoosh flies in on me. I'm like, what was that? Like it's so quick that you don't even recognize what it is. You're just whatever. And then like the time it actually like when I noticed it, I was like, oh wow, there's a falcon flying around. And I was wearing a camo hat, little camouflage, and next thing I know, just boop, clips my head, grabs my hat, and knocks me to the ground. And it's so quick, so just like confusion. I'm just lucky I had my hand on a railing or something, or I would have been off the building.
Damn.
I'm like, oh, I think it took my hat, and I hit the ground. I'm like, oh no, my hat's gone. I touched my top of my head, and I'm like, oh, there's a little blood there. So I had to make my way down through all the floors of that building, which there's plenty, as you know, and yeah, made my way all the way down to the hospital. And they're like, what happened? And I was like, oh, I was doing a little exploring, and a falcon hit me. And they're like, what are you talking about? Sounds like you're on something, but
Yeah.
no. As silly as it is, that was my most significant injury on top of a bando getting clipped by a falcon.
Dude, I was, like I said, I was in Detroit a couple days ago, and my girlfriend was actually
Yeah.
getting her hair done, and the girl doing her hair, she was like, oh yeah, there was this abandoned building that I went to one time. We used to like smoke weed in the abandoned buildings back in the day, and there was one with like
Yup,
a falcon in it, and this falcon was like attacking people, and I was like, no way that you also know about this. Like the falcon is notorious.
Yes, yes.
What a
Yeah,
great
it's
story.
a well-known falcon. Need to make an Instagram or something for itself.
Oh my god. The Detroit Falcon. Oh my god, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Wh-
absolutely.
What was your scariest exploration ever?
I wouldn't say scariest, but the most. I don't even know how to word this, but There was a hotel that was just very recently abandoned, so there was still plenty of everything in there. And the owner actually came by to give a tour of it, and we seen a car drive by, and we're like, "Well, he's kind of slow rolling us, like just in case." So we all duck. Well, let's just make our way out of here just in case. And as we took off, he was just chasing us through, and that was I wouldn't say scariest, but just the most thrilling.
For sure.
And that was I think second or third time we actually ran from authorities.
Sometimes you just gotta go.
Yeah, it's either hide, run, or just, hey, it's us. Sorry,
Yeah.
we're not doing any damage. We're taking some photos.
Right, exactly. And usually it's fine, but it's crazy. I was just talking to somebody from the UK, Places Forgotten, and he was talking about how in the UK it's just a civil offense, if you're trespassing. Here in the States, we take it
slap on the wrist.
very, very seriously. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I can
how about
your understand that. I know this goes against every code of
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies.
No, you're
No,
good.
I was just gonna say, I understand why people would be a little upset. You're in their property, but it's like, the explorers like yourself, me, plenty of our friends that are like, we're going in there, we're not damaging anything, we're not breaking nothing, we're taking a couple of photos and taking off.
Yep.
But there's other people that want to trash places and just give the whole community a bad name.
Exactly. How about your most creative entrance?
This was a good one. I think we were in Ohio. I can't remember it. I don't remember the exact name of the church, which helps us keep it secure.
Yeah.
But it had a good couple feet of flooding, and there was a fence that was just, there's no way to climb the fence. It was like one of those gate fences, and we got in the front entrance, but there was that, in malls when they close early, they have those little rafter fences.
Yeah.
I guess I'm sure the name. But I was like, all right, well, so I just held onto this. So we went in the basement where the flooding was, and I was like, I'm not trying to, shit water all over me.
For sure.
So I was like, I'm not trying to go swimming, guys. And I was like, oh, no, I see a ladder on the other side of the room. So I just scaled the wall, and I'm just holding onto I think it was a pipe, but it just was loose enough where I can get my fingers behind it. So I scale it and just drag a ladder through. And then one side of the ladder got it all the way back upstairs to that entrance, one side over the fence, and then just climbed back, and just to, leave it the way we left it. We had to throw the ladder back in the basement. So I think that might have been my most creative, was to scale a wall, get the ladder, bring it back upstairs, and then throw it over, just holding on so it's, the ladder wasn't touching the ground. We was still just hooked onto the fence.
That's amazing.
Just enough to get us over.
Wow. That's a new question that just got added to the podcast. So I'm excited moving forward to hear more people's stories about their creativity, because, sometimes we got to do some weird shit to get in and out of these buildings. I've definitely scaled down some pipes and jumped over razor wire fences. We've done some insane shit for sure.
Definitely. That's a good one. That's really creative. Yeah, I like that. I look forward to hearing some answers from that.
Yeah, for sure. So has anything ever made you want to stop exploring?
I wouldn't say stop. I kind of, you get a little burnt out every once in a while. You just hit everything you can. And then it's just the pestering of where's that? And, sometimes it's it's not a problem for me to share locations or anything like that. It's just the community sometimes kills it for you. You want to go out with your friends, be safe, and then take a couple shots. But then you see the same old no creativeness. You see the same shots. If you see a nice school, an auditorium, you'll see 10 shots front and center.
Yep.
And it kind of kills the vibe of it, kills the energy of wanting to be out there just to be another face in the crowd. I think a lot of us explorers, we do this just so we can express ourselves creatively. We're not just another face in the crowd.
That's true, man. Very true. What about your most dangerous or your riskiest exploration?
Well, the riskiest. I don't know. There's been a few explorers that they still had power on, so that always gives me the creeps.
Yeah.
Hey, someone's gonna turn around a corner and be like, "Hey, what are you doing here with the camera?"
Yeah.
But so there's plenty of water parks. So this doesn't name it, but there was a water park that we had to use a tripod to we could get the tripod in and just enough to flip the lock, and that one was pretty risky just because on our way back things were moved. So somebody was there. We explored, came back, and then wait a minute. On our way out, we see things are a little different. I don't think it was another explorer because they would have probably made themselves known. it was either like an employee or security guard or something was just like, wait a minute, we just double explored this. Like somebody else was here during the time we were there. That might have been a good one. Or some of the churches, they'll have like alarms, but they're just like pre-recorded. Hey, get out of here, guys. And the first time I heard that, it was a pretty frightening. It was, oh, shit, cops are here! Run or hide! Run or hide! And those are pretty frightening.
Absolutely, yeah. I've also been in a situation where an alarm or like I heard like a police siren, like on their little, what is it called, the handheld bullhorns, how they have like the boop.
Yeah.
So my friend can make that
Yep.
sound perfectly with his mouth. And he did it one time when we were in this abandoned mall, and it scared the fuck out of everybody in the building, and everyone's running. We're running. There's like random teenagers smoking pot in the building, and they're like, is that for us? We gotta go. So we're all like sprinting to get out of this place. Get out. We're like sitting in my car catching our breath, and my friend shows up like 10 minutes later, and he's like, where'd everybody go? We're like, what are you talking about? Didn't you hear the siren? And he was like, yeah, that was me. I was just like fucking around. And we were like, dude, you can't do that. Like, easily spooked over here. Come on.
Red flag of exploring.
Yeah, absolutely.
No fake cops.
I'm like, dude, you want to clear a neighborhood? Like, that's a way to do it.
Yeah, that's a good evac plan.
Yeah. What do you do when you're not exploring abandoned places?
That sounds pretty dorky, but I'm pretty big into poetry and writing. Just kind of really, I don't know, more of a writer than like photos now. I just kind of dig deep into just like exploring, not just like exploring abandoned buildings, but exploring new lands, new countries, new feelings. I guess traveling, but that's pretty lame to say, pretty broad. But just exploring, experiencing life in different places.
I love that. Do you have any goal places, like bucket list items you're trying to check off your list?
I think everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a place I don't want to be. Like I want to experience it all, but I think just a place that I just really, really, really want is there's plenty of what's the word, temples and excuse me, I can't even think clearly. I'm just what are they? The ruins here, the Mayan ruins.
Oh yeah.
I definitely want to get to some places like Palenque and just these aren't just like a building with some history. This is just thousands of years of civilization history I want to check out.
Yeah. I mean, you're in a super special spot too. I don't think we even mentioned like where you're out of.
Yeah, that's so I took a trip out to Mexico about 6-7 months ago, just as like I thought I'd be here for a week on a vacation. So I just took a backpack and my camera, and I'm going on like 8 months, and I'm not just in the typical part of Mexico. Like I never thought I'd be out like on bordering Guatemala. I'm in a state called Chiapas, and I think it's the most beautiful place on earth. I don't know why more people don't come here, and I'm surrounded by mountains,
Wow.
villages. It's gorgeous, and there's so much history here. There's a couple hours this way, I'm into waterfalls. A couple hours this way, I'm into like nightlife, and just it's everything I can't experience in America.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like people have this preconceived notion of that area. They don't really know like what's really there. They just hear like the cartel and blah blah blah. You'll die. You'll get taken. Blah.
Yeah.
So there's like this preconceived notion about it, but it's a beautiful place. I go down to Mexico for lucha libre wrestling matches. I photograph those guys.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I photograph those
absolutely.
guys and film them, and it's such a cool culture down there, and I feel like we can't experience anything like that up here in America. So it's super cool that you're down there, and I'm sure the spots are
definitely.
totally different down there.
Oh, and there's no slap on the wrist. They don't care. You're in an abandoned building, like, oh, well, why are you in there, weirdo?
Yeah.
Like they don't really care much if we do exploring. They just, they mind their own life. Everybody does their thing here. There's very zero judgment here. It's I love it. Surprisingly, as distant as it is, there's so much peace because there's so little here.
Yeah.
Like mountainsides every morning I wake up and stretch on my roof, and I see everything. It's gorgeous.
So sick.
It's cool. I mean, I've experienced so much in this short time that I've been here that can't get enough of it.
Amazing. If you could live in an abandoned building that you've explored for an entire week, which place would it be?
That's a good question. That's a great question. My first thought is to pick somewhere large just so I can explore every day I'm there. But as like cleanliness places, I'd have to say that hotel. It'll remain nameless, but it was pristine. The beds were still made.
So cool.
There might not be room service, but it's some pretty decent rooms.
I wonder if you can get food delivered to an abandoned place.
That's something I'll try next time I'm back in Detroit.
Yeah, for sure. Just see it. They'll probably just drop it on the doorstep and leave.
Yeah. It's Grubhub, DoorDash.
What do you hope for the future of urban exploring?
I hope to see more creativeness, If a place has been explored thousands of times, I want to see 1,000 different kinds of images. I hate the cliche walk in, get the center shot, and run out of there. And I hope that people can appreciate it more. It's almost like time traveling. You're capturing that image there that can take you back in that time every time you're in there. Or even just viewing it, We're so used to looking at something on social media, scrolling through on Instagram, and, oh, it's a cool picture. Double tap, quick like. 10 seconds later, it's out of your mind. I hope people can, really enjoy it. Think of, it sounds weird, but sometimes I'll look at Instagram, and I'll go through people's photos and really enjoy them. I feel like I'm in a museum. I'm admiring art at this point. And I hope people can really get that feel again and just really appreciate the art of it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And, I think, so you said that you feel like you're in a museum when you go through these photos on Instagram. So I have this goal, a 5-year goal of actually opening an Urbex museum somewhere. And people can donate.
Dope.
People can donate photos. And I mean, we're not there. It's like a code. We live by a code when we do this, don't take things, but we've all taken something from a place. And I feel like if people...
No, I think I have so many souvenirs.
So many souvenirs. I literally have a shelf of souvenirs, and I don't know if that makes me a horrible person, but I had to. I'm sorry. I needed that. I found an old film camera, and then I found a old Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh in an abandoned house, and I was like, this guy's got to come home with me, man. It's just little things like that. I have a porcelain set of doves that I found in a glass factory. They used to make glass and porcelain, and I shot a music video there, and I was like, I'm going to take this as a little token. But I want people to donate some of their pieces for a temporary amount of time, maybe 6 months at a time. We'll put a photo of the place, the artifact, and then a placard of what it is, what the place was, and a little history about the person that took the photo. And then every 6 months I would swap out each artifact to keep it fresh. This is my goal. I'm gonna make it happen. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it's gonna happen within the next 5 years. So you'll actually be able to go to an Urbex museum, man.
Hell yeah! I got plenty I could donate, and plenty of the. You got my support. I'm on board with that. That's amazing.
Yeah, let's go. So my last question for you is: what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
That's a really good one. I would say make sure you charge your batteries. Can't tell you how many times I've got somewhere and I'm 3% battery on my camera, and I'm so disappointed.
Or you get the memory card full.
Oh, that's the worst. You only got a short time in there and you want to take some shots. No, let me pick and choose what I can delete now.
It sucks. Yes. It's the worst. That's why they made 2 memory card slots on new cameras so that you can just swap a new one in.
My dumbass would probably fill both of those memory cards too.
For sure. Well, hey, thank you for coming on No Tracers. I loved hearing your stories and a little bit more about you as a person, as a photographer. If people want to keep following your journey, where can they find you online?
Absolutely. No, that's cool as hell. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the chance to share my stories. You can find me as simply as just, on Facebook, my first and last name. And my Instagram name or my tag is just Airborne _Alex 313.
All right, that was my episode with Airborne Alex. You can go check him out at Airborne _Alex 313 on Instagram. I'll put his Instagram and his Facebook down in the description for you guys. I appreciate you listening to this podcast. Please leave a rating and feedback so that I can, get some more listeners. That's what it's all about. We're trying to grow this podcast to be the biggest Urbex podcast on all platforms. If you're on Spotify or Apple, please leave a rating and feedback. Let me know what you like about the podcast. And if you want to come on the show, hit me up at no.tracers on Instagram or contact@notracers.com. This show airs every single Friday. So if you want to go back and listen to some past episodes, there are plenty of them, over 100 episodes for you guys to dive into with different people around the world. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Go to notracers.com/shop, pick up a copy of my photo book. And you know what? I'm going to set up like a GoFundMe for this Urbex Museum. If you guys want to get involved, I'll give you more details in the future. I think it'd be something really cool to do for the community, and I would love for you to be a part of it. I got to figure out like what perks I can do, and we'll figure something out. But thank you guys. I appreciate you. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, go explore something, and remember, leave no trace.